Them a brand new set of furniture. That was it. I told Joe he could hit the road. He didn't notify us of that. And of course, Mama, she got all upset because I fired him. And he tried to say, well, I own part of the business. We said, you're on a probationary thing. Read the contract. Said, boy, I'm telling you, it's a mistake to involve family in your business. Period. I'd rather loan him some money and him not pay it back than to brought him into that business. Never bring family into the business. Now, I don't know. You can tell me what you think. What would you have done? But he was hurting the business. I wish I'd held on to that piece of property. It take you the location. It was on a corner in Dinwiddie, and on the opposite corner was the Dinwiddie Courthouse. So it was a good location, because anytime anybody went to the courthouse, they saw our business there. And that was a big building. But I sold it. When I moved to Florida. I moved to Florida in '79. Should have stayed there. But I mean, it had all, think of what all in a automobile dealership building, those lifts and things. I don't know what those lifts would have cost. It had an air compressor in there, big air compressor. So we needed air in our shop. The guy needed air in his shop. So it had all that stuff in it, plus all them printing presses and stuff. I should have took the time and got them hauled to I probably did the right thing. Them things, it takes a forklift to pick them things up. And the junker that done that, he had all that equipment. I did the right thing on that, but the stuff in the parts department, boy, did I screw up big time on that. But the moral of this story, don't ever involve your relatives, your family, in your business unless he's a very important part or will be an important part of that business. And I knew Joe had an alcohol problem when I hired him. Just like when I hired my mother. And she was living in Florida and she moved to Virginia. and moved in my house and everything. So I knew that was going to be a problem. And that was. Boy, I was so glad when that man, she left in Florida, come down and got her back and took her back. I'm not, thank you, thank you, thank you. Took her. She didn't get along with my wife. And I wasn't going to stand for that.
Give me one, please.
But man. I wish we'd have never moved to Florida. But it is what it is, you know. You make mistakes. But when I made mistakes, they was doozies, man, I'll tell you. Anyhow, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Don't bring family into your business. Whatever. I sure made some mistakes. And every time I hired my mama, I gave her a job in Florida too when I moved to Florida. That was a mistake too. All right, folks, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I will see you in the next one. See ya. Now I'm supposed to say, GoPro, stop recording. I can't. That building, it had a big furnace back in the garage part. Huge furnace. The fuel tank for that thing was outside in the ground. That thing, the fuel tank was 600 gallons. And I decided I'd start heating that building. Thinking fill that fuel tank up once would be enough to do the season. Well, it won't. Turns out it needed about 1,800 gallons of winter. So I had to shut that thing down. I mean, pronto. But I should have never made my brother part of that business. Because him and this other lady that worked for me, Rosalie Powell, they didn't get along at all. He started trying to boss her. I was the boss. Every time I turned around, they were getting into it. And I kept telling Joe, leave Rosalie alone. She was a valuable employee. And one day they had a big blow up, and she was a black lady. And she told Joe, you ain't my boss. I do what Russell tells me to do. And Joe told her, we'll see about that. And the next thing I know, Rosie told Joe, said, you can kiss my big black ass, boy. That's what she called him. And she left, she quit. Me and Joe. Me and Joe had a falling out about that. Joe, he would go out and give estimates on furniture recovering and stuff, you know. And they had these drive-throughs in Petersburg where you could drive through, and had a drive-through window, and you could buy these little ready-made shots of different kind of liquor and stuff. And he'd drive through there and get him a couple of shots and drive off drinking. And come back to the shop inebriated, drunk. And that he pretty much, there was so much turmoil, and Mama, she didn't want to try to talk to him or anything, and I said, your son, talk to him, he's going to run this business. Because he'd wind up going to customers' house drunk. So there I was. I had to make a choice. It couldn't go on like it was going. And then the kill shot come. He made a mistake with the customer. And we couldn't figure out why the customer had to come in and pay, because we wasn't going to deliver the furniture till the customer come in, looked at it, and paid for it. I quit delivering straight to the house and then have them pay me then. They have to come in, look at the furniture, and approve it, and then pay for it, then we'll deliver it. Because we had a customer one time had us deliver furniture. We delivered it, put it in her house, and she didn't like it or something. And she said, I don't like it, I ain't paying for it. So we said, well, we'll take it back and fix it the way you want it. But she refused to let us take it. It was in her house. She refused to let us take it back. Said, if you couldn't do it right the first time, you can't do it right the second time. So from then on, when a customer has us do work for them, they come into the shop after we get it done, look at it, approve it, and pay for it. We will not deliver it till it's paid for. But he screwed up on the job, and what he agreed to let, once we got it done, that we was gonna hold on to it for over a month till they was ready to pay for it. And we had a thing, anything left over 30 days, we will sell. Well, 30 days went by, I couldn't figure out what was wrong. So once 30 days was up, we sold it. Here's the thing, before you can sell something that a customer has brought to you to do something to, you have a policy of 30 days you will sell it. You have to advertise that particular item for sale in the newspaper. Just a small ad, just as long as you do that. Well, we didn't do that. We sold it, we didn't advertise it. So I learned the hard way on that. So when they come in to get it, we didn't have it, we sold it, and we said we had 30 days. Well, they sued us. And guess what? They won. We had to go to a furniture store and let them pick out a set of furniture. We had to buy a big air compressor, all that stuff. So I said, well, it's got a lot of stuff stored in there right now. I said, the stuff that was stored there was old printing presses and stuff that belonged to Progress Index. That was a newspaper company in St. Petersburg. Or was it Petersburg? I can't. Petersburg, Virginia. So I contacted the newspaper company. I said, look, I'm now the owner of this building, and y'all been storing some stuff over here. I need it gone. And he said, well, I thought they'd already disposed of it. We don't want it. It was old, outdated printing presses and stuff. And I mean, they were huge. And there was other kind of machine in there that made the type for the printer type and everything. Several machines. The machines, most of them weighed around 10,000 pounds or more. So he said, just dispose of them. And so I decided to call somebody that been junked in scrap metal and stuff and give it to them just to move it out of there, which was really a dumbass mistake. Because we're talking about tons of material. Tons. But instead I give it to a scrapper. I didn't want to be bothered with getting scrap moved and all that stuff. Big mistake. That was probably a few $1,000s worth of scrap steel. And there was brass, copper, all that stuff. Steel tables, just you name it. And I got that cleared out. I rented that to that garage man. And then I went in the parts department. When they moved out of that building into their new building, they left parts, new parts, still in the boxes and stuff, from the years back in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. I mean, there was a Ford car, I think it was like a 38 or something, that it didn't have hydraulic brakes, it had mechanical brakes. And they had the whole setup for the mechanical brakes that went in them cars. This is all original stuff. Carburetors, you name it. They even had the front grille for a 1955 T-Bird, Thunderbird. They had new fenders and stuff for different model cars that they had left in there. And that would have been a gold mine. But no, for Russell's all lack of wisdom, he listed it for free. And man, the people, these car restore people and everything, they come in there by the droves. And after I had listed that and seen what was going on, I knew I had made a mistake. Then, you know, every year the new cars come out, and they got these banners and signs and all that stuff and paraphernalia for the new models. Well, I didn't make the mistake on that. I listed them for sale. I made about $5,000 off of that. But I probably lost $40,000 on the stuff I give away. Probably. I can't believe I did that. And that business was doing good. And my brother, I had a brother that lived in Petersburg, and that was George. I had another brother that lived somewhere in Florida. He was the one that went to Vietnam, was a Vietnam vet and all that stuff. And he hit town. And we started running around together and stuff. And he started helping out somewhere a little bit in the shop. My mother worked for me. My wife worked for me. Another lady named Rosalie Powell worked for me. And I can't remember the guy that helped me on deliveries and stuff. Can't remember his name. But hiring my brother in there was a mistake. I decided to make him part of the business, part owner. He was having a hard time. But he was working for reduced wages to become part owner. And that was the worst mistake I really made. That didn't work at all. Hello, YouTube family. I'm just really down. I can't get on my scooter and go. Need a battery charger, need batteries. I don't know how long it'll take the VA to get me new batteries. I may have to buy a new battery charger. Cause I don't know how long it'll take me. I just don't know. And it's driving me up the wall, not being able to get. I get on the deck, but that's as far as I can go. It's driving me nuts. Didn't do any going to the scrapyard this week. Gonna do it next Monday or Tuesday, which is the 31st and the 1st. I should be getting my money any day now from YouTube. Should be something over $100. And on the 1st, I'll have $75 on my Aetna benefit card, which I'm going to use along with that over $100 I get from YouTube to get me a new computer, and I may wind up having to buy a battery charger. If we do that, there goes my ID money again. There's some tools, inexpensive tools actually, that I really need. I'm tearing my hand to all the pieces trying to do stuff out there and do microscoping with my fingers and stuff. But it is what it is. Man. I'm telling you. You know, I was thinking about something. I was thinking about dumb things I've done. In 1976 or 77, I can't remember which, I started a new business, furniture business, upholstery business, called Southern Style. No, no, not that. It was Southside Upholstery. Bought a new van, 1977 Dodge van. And I rented a building for my business from a place. This was in Dinwiddie, Virginia, which is a suburb of St. Petersburg, Virginia. And it was a good location. The building was a dealership. It used to be the Dinwiddie Ford dealership. And it had been a Dinwiddie Ford dealership for since sometime in the 1920s. So it was an old building, but it was a solid building. It had a garage, it had a body shop, it had a parts department, had an office section, and a showroom. I didn't rent all of that. All I rented was the showroom part and a bathroom. And one day, the owner that owned that building, I forget his name, was it Ash Thomas? I can't remember. I think that was it. One day, the landlord come in. He said, "I'm going to give you a heads up. We're going to put this on the market for sale." Well, that was terrible for me because I didn't want to have to move to another location. I asked him what he was going to sell it for. He gave me a price. I can't remember what it was. And how much he wanted down and how much he wanted a month. Well, I almost had enough for the down payment. And my daddy had just sold his part of his Granddaddy Pearson's old home place. So Daddy had money. So he didn't loan me enough money, he just gave it to me. So I bought the building. So I was using the part, the showroom part. There was another guy, I forget the name of his business, but he was a mechanic's garage. He was using that and renting it. So I had rent coming in. And the garage part, the big part where all the cars went in there to get worked on and stuff. He wanted to know how much rent I wanted for that. And that part, it had all the lifts and everything, to run the cars up in there. It had 4 lifts in there.